Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is James Chimsevsky, and I'm actually in the chemistry department professor, and also have some labs here in the California Nanosystems Institute. And I'm the scientific director of the Art Sci Center. So it's a pleasure to welcome you all here today, and we've had the pleasure for the past 2 weeks to have all of these brilliant young, I call them Leonardos, in the sense creativity as well as science and art, all these things sort of mixed together, which is relevant to, I think, our society today. And we have a theme which was to do with the fact that this year it's been 50 years since man landed on the moon. It's also 500 years of Leonardo. And if you look at the T-shirt, maybe the students can explain to you what it means. The LDV. It means Leonardo da Vinci, but it also means other things if you think of the Roman meaning of the letters. And they're also written backwards because Leonardo wrote both forwards and backwards when he was writing. So, yeah, this is the 12th year of this summer school. And we already have had a lot of feedback from former students. In fact, I was at the University of Bristol in England maybe a month ago, and a student actually came to my talk, and she's working in nanomaterials, and she attended this summer school, and it was inspired, and it helped her sort of clarify what direction she wanted to take in science, or as many people also do, in art or design or technology and so on. So it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Victoria Vesna, who is an artist, but she also works a lot with various institutions in technology. So we have media art here in the Northern Campus, and we have our science art events. And she's also she's a visiting professor in the what is it, Technical University in Linz in Austria, and also has been in Marseille in France as a visiting scientist, as well as a Meeker Fellow in Bristol University. All sorts of things she has been involved in, including a punk rock band back in the 80s. So, without further ado, she is the director of the whole program here, and I'll hand it over to her. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And it takes a village, and it really did, and my village is amazing. The team that you will meet today, I just every day wake up and think, how did this happen? So just to give a little bit of background to the parents, this is an undergraduate class that's called Introduction to Art, Science, and Technology that I teach for the last, 10 years I taught it. Then it somehow became an online class that's UC-wide. And the whole idea was to start thinking about how to create a program that would have that same teaching but in 2 weeks. And so if you think 10 weeks of an undergraduate course squashed into 2 weeks so you could get the 4 credits, you have to prove to the school that the students will have the number of hours of working, lecturing, field trips, etc., that actually qualifies to those 4 credits. So there's no way one person could do this. That's why I say it takes a village. There's quite a few of us that really put this together. It's not dumbed down, and it started from when I had children, I don't want to call you children, but I'm at that age where you are children. When my children were ready for going to college, and I was looking around as a parent and as a professor, and I just thought, I don't really like any of these programs. I feel like they should be introduced to the college life in a different way, where the possibilities of the college and universities can be shown to the students. Many times students end up in their senior year understanding what they could do, and as opposed to coming in with expectations. What this program, the way I envisioned it, actually started happening after a few years. It's been 12 years now, where you have, from the highest level, professors like Dr. Jimzewski and others from sciences and arts, absolutely the top qualities, lecturing to the students, being there for critiques. Then you have PhD postdocs and master's students from both sciences and arts as acting instructors who work with me on the curriculum and then actually take it over and become teachers. Then there's undergraduate students who become assistants to the teachers. And then we have the students who are high school students. So you have this whole kind of environment that really all of us learn throughout the whole process. Nobody is on top, bottom, or sitting and listening, but we're all kind of learning in the process. And every single year, I'm amazed at a different dynamic that happens. This particular year was specifically somehow focused. I think this generation is really interesting. There is something very different about the frequency, the kind of abilities, the focus. It made me think of Greta, that's like this generation of like, we're going to change this world. And it really made me very hopeful in seeing this kind of attitude. I was in the midst of doing a move, so I had to really let go of a lot of hands-on here. But every time I checked in, it was just, I can't believe it. It's so cool. So I'm just going to go through it really quick and then pass it on to the students. So for all of you, you should know that we are live streaming this, and there are many people who are really interested in this program. There's many parents, many of my colleagues, both in arts and sciences, who wish they could take this program, but no, it's not. It's meant for the younger upcoming generations. So those of you who don't have this link, please pass it on. And then we're going to show you this video that was created by Amy and Helen. Amy is actually an alumni of Art Science and Sci-Art program, and she's there in the back. And now she's undergraduate student in Design Media Arts. And Helen, is she here? Is not here yet. Oh no, Helen just went to Australia. She just went to, you'll see, we have a very international group here. So she just got, she's going on study abroad, and she literally packed off and got. So her major is marine biology. So these two young women created this together. I hope we have sound.
Time is money.
remember the first time I edited a video and it was shown on big screen, it was like, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life. So is it this one? Yes, okay. So just, whoops. Here we go again. So you can see these people had a lot of fun. And that's part of it. Part of it is to have fun and really love what you're doing, because that's how you're going to continue and do something important, and one person can make a big difference. But we had actually 50 students, which I thought was so amazing, because the whole theme was 550 and 5, and it just happened that way. So it's really wonderful. So just just a little bit about what inspired this, also to think about it. We really thought, how can we think about the next 5 years? So when you think about 500 years since Leonardo left the Earth, 50 years since we jumped on the moon. But by the way, what a lot of people don't mention, that it's also on the same year in 2019 that China actually got to the dark side of the moon. So we're living in a very different world, and this generation, in my opinion, are planetary citizens, which our parents and us don't get still, but they actually live in this planet, in this space. So a lot of the idea is also to think about from macro to micro, and how they can always think holistically, no matter how minute their research may be. And so, just to skip this, this is also 50 years ago. We had Woodstock, and this is a quote, which actually is from Joni Mitchell's song, but it's so absolutely true. We did have a whole workshop with meteorites that was very cool. And so this is also something that we like to mention, that 50 years ago is also the first time that humanity saw itself from a distance. Up to that point, it was always like we were in this earth, but never saw ourselves outside. That's not that long ago. And now we're already going to the Mars and different planets and really thinking in planetary ways. It's become an entrepreneurship for many different reasons. Also to mention is that the Leonardo Journal was established 50 years ago by Frank Molina, who was an astrophysicist and actually was one of the people forming JPL right here in LA. And he ended up being an artist too. So the whole thing about what's going on now is something that was already established 50 years ago, including the very first internet connection. At that point, it was ARPANET, that happened practically next door here in the engineering building with Professor Leonard Kleinrock. And so our question to these students, which is not a small one, is to think 5 years from now. A lot of people are saying, what is going to happen 10, 20 years? But if environmentalists are telling us we have 10 years to shift, that means we should think much closer to thinking about the future. And this generation is the key in many ways. So we are asking them what is next. And to establish a third culture, which is what we as the ArtSci Center have been really fighting for, to really have students understand that the separation of humanities and the arts and the sciences is artificial. It's something that's a product of the industrial age, and that's, got to stop, because it's causing a lot of chaos that we're living in right now. So we're trying to break this false division and start early, because if you talk to students or people who are already advanced, they're already too much in the system of thinking of these two cultures. So we wanted to start early. And we think we understand. And with that, I want to introduce the team, which absolutely represents this kind of culture.